Coach, for someone who hasn't seen your team play, how would you describe your defense?
We are trying to be a pressure zone defense, I think is a good way to put it. We've been fortunate enough to lead the league in turnovers here the past couple of years. So it's not in traditional pack it in 2-3 like maybe you see in like you did in middle school or that kind of stuff. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have is trying to eliminate that negative stereotype where a lot of people hear zone and they think passive, don't work as hard, soft. We are trying to be the opposite. Work harder, aggressive, extended, really, getting after it in the zone.
Let's start like at the very beginning. You're teaching it to your guys and introducing it to them. What are maybe the core principles that you're communicating to them? What's the foundation that you have to lay at the start?
For us, it's an extended 2-1-2 zone. So our guys on top are going to pick up the ball around the volleyball line. And if your court doesn't have a volleyball line, it's between the half court line and the 3-point line. So that's the biggest first difference in that we're not sitting inside the 3-point line, going to let you pass it however you want and walk into your stuff. We're going to be extended and try to dictate to your point guard where the ball is going to go, where they can pass it, where they can't. And that's where it starts. So that energy and how active we are on top of the zone, the top two guards is where it starts. We'll put our center about 15 feet away from the rim. Free throw line is his starting place. And above the free throw line is where we put him, heels just above the free throw line. And then we have our two forwards that we call forwards that start above the block. So an extended 2-1-2 zone is what we're talking them through first. And really putting an emphasis on the pressure part of it. Like we want to dictate to the offense, not the offense dictate to us.
But starting with those top two guards, what are their primary responsibilities?
No doubt. So in the core of it, those two guards, like we said, are going to be at that volleyball line. So between half court and the 3-point line, and they are active, what we call stunting. And so they're going to use their inside hand and their inside foot. So if you can imagine, the closest hand and closest foot to the point guard, if the point guard's coming right down the middle of the court. And so they're going to stunt. They're going to jab their foot at them, keep their hand up. And their core responsibility from the beginning is to make sure the pass from the top to the wing goes over their head. If we have a direct line pass from top to wing, they're not high enough. They're not working hard enough. We tell those guys on top, if they're not working hard, if they're not getting after it, then why would our center, why would our forward do that thing, right? Like those are the guys that are our centers and forwards are watching the guards and how hard they're working. And so we want to mix our looks to the other team's point guard. So sometimes we might have one guard up, one guard back. Sometimes we might have both up a step higher than normal to pick it up even more. If it's a point guard that can't shoot as much, we might back up a little bit more. So we have some flexibility with those guys on top. We tell them a lot that we want to vary the looks. We don't want to just keep throwing fastballs at them. We want to mix. We want to, vary our levels of pressure, but at the core of it, those two guards, the pass goes over their head to the wing. Then they will chase that pass over their head and play the wing straight up. And we are more traditional, like a 2-3 zone where it is free throw line extended up. Our guards are going to play that ball straight up. But for the guards, they'll chase that pass over their head and then play the ball on the wing. And then the center, he is going to be 15 feet away from the rim all the time, and always between the ball and the rim. So wherever the ball goes, it's the simplest position that we have in the zone. He is always ball and rim 15 feet. So if you think about it from an offensive perspective, if I'm looking at the rim with the ball, I should always see that center between me and the basket. And so there's no direct line pass. There's no direct line drive because the center is always going to be between the ball and the rim 15 feet. And that's a really important part. So our guards can feel freedom to pressure the ball as much as possible because they know if they get beat off the dribble, if there's a pass or whatever, none of those are going to be direct line to the rim because our 5-man, our center is always between ball and basket. Easiest job on the court too. If you have someone with size that maybe doesn't have the highest basketball IQ, like that's the place we say to put them between ball and rim, simplest position. And then our forwards, they are kind of our back line of the defense. They're our best communicators. They have to communicate cutters, ball screens, penetration, any of that kind of stuff. They are our best communicators on the back line. They are making sure any lobs that they go chase, so there's no layups or dunks at the basket. And then on that first initial pass that we talked about at the beginning, that is from top to wing. So point guard dribbles it down, throws it over our guard's head to the wing. The forward is going to go play that pass for a second, then back to their original spot. And then our forwards will also always play the ball anything below the free throw line, outside the three-point line, our forwards are playing that as well. Each positional group has their own responsibilities. We rep those positional groups individually to make sure that they get good at those. And all 5 positions or all those 3 spots have to work together. All 5 guys have to work together and do their job for it to be successful.
So let me kind of go back and this.
Yeah.
I'll try to keep it a little bit organized here, but so let me start at
Yeah.
the top there. By playing in that manner and the ball going over the top, that kind of slows things down for you to at least get out there to guard on the wings, right?
100%. Like it is the number 1 zone buster for us. If you can pop that ball from top to wing, we're toast. It allows that center to get 15 feet ball in rim and be the protector. It gives our forward a chance to go play it for a second to buy the guard time. So it's all interconnected, right? Like, so if you imagine the guards and forwards together, that pass is over the head. The forward will come play it for a second, and then the guard will go chase it because it's a longer run for the guard because the guard is starting higher up. But because the pass is lobbed and over the head, it buys time for everybody. The other nuance that goes with the guards too that you don't think about is, let's say the ball is on the wing, the guard is playing it straight up. The wing passes the ball to the top. So the first movement for our guard defender is up in the passing lane, then out towards the ball. We don't, for the same concept, right? We don't, no passes from top to wing. So if I'm the guard guarding it on the wing and I just slide into the elbow like a normal traditional zone, well, now they can throw it right back to the wing, right? And go wing top, right back to wing. And so the first movement for that defender is up, then out towards the ball. Always trying to take away that pass from top to wing and making sure it's a lob, not a direct line pass.
Are you telling guys to funnel towards the center of the floor?
We are not, but the center of the floor is where most of the drives are going to be funneled. So at the top, we are not. On the baseline, we are. No baseline drives. And we are okay getting beat. And that's where one thing that's different. We want to pressure. And if you get beat off the dribble, it is okay. And when you're going to get beat in our zone, it is going to be middle. So I don't like to use the word funnel because it's like, just let them go. But we want to pressure. And if you get beat, that's okay. And it's normally going to be middle.
A lot of teams will position 1 or sometimes even 2 guys kind of in that free throw elbow area, especially the way the alignment for you all is set up. But what are you telling him as far as guarding somebody there at the free throw line? Because I know most teams, or a lot of teams at least, will 1-3-1 offensive alignment a lot of times.
For our centers, the first one of the big things for them is that this is not a matchup zone. This is a zone. So Tony, like if you guys put 3 across the free throw line or whatever, like we don't care about the bodies, we care about your position. And if there's a body in the spot where you're supposed to be, then we can play that guy. We might 3/4 wrap him, full front him, but the center has to get to his spot regardless of where you're going to put offensive players. If there happens to be one in our spot, then we'll play that one there. And so it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. If the center worries about an offensive player and not getting to their position, now there is straight line ball to rim. And that can be direct line drive pass. That can be direct drive. But he's got to get between ball and rim at that position. And so in the alignment you kind of described, if you can imagine, once again, like the ball's right in the middle of the floor, right in the middle at the volleyball line, let's say. Our 2 guards are up playing it. Our center is right there at the free throw line. And it's almost like a soft triangle, like you said, almost funneling middle between those 3 guys. But it looks so congested because we've got our 5-man there. His arms are wide, taking up a bunch of space. We've got the 2 guards harassing you up top. And so you're not comfortable. And you're offensively, you're thinking, well, my easiest pass is going to be to throw it over the guard's head to the wing. And that's exactly what we want. Like it's advantage us. We're going to, rotate that one and be good. We can also slide the forwards up who start just above the block. So if you're going to put, guys on the elbows, we'll slide those forwards up to make it look more congested because there's normally nobody behind them as well. And so all interconnected, but back to your question, this is a zone. It is not a matchup zone. It is a zone in the purest form. And so center, ball and rim, get to your spot. And if there's a guy in your spot, then make sure he does not keep you from getting to your spot.
And that guy will play behind the offensive player in relationship to if somebody's in his spot, not matching up. Correct.
And we for our 5-man, we'll 3/4 them a little bit, right? But still making sure you're mobile. And we'll actually practice some where we'll put an offensive player in the high post. We'll put our defensive player in the right behind them, and we'll throw them passes, and we'll have the defensive player practice stealing that. I think we can bait that pass. We had a kid 2 years ago who,
Mhm.
was top in the steal, who got a ton of steals doing that. Also, I think in that center position, it's a great place to take charges and offensive fouls too. But yes, we will practice baiting that one and trying to get steals there. No doubt
All
about
right,
it.
so the bottom 2 guys now, and you mentioned, prime priority, don't give up baseline there.
So the one area where we do match up a little bit is in the forward spot, just matching up with the guy that's either in the corner, short corner, wherever that might be. And the forwards work together in tandem. So if I'm a forward and Tony, you're a forward, and if you're out closing out and trying to guard the short corner, I'm going to cheat over some more and help with any middle cutter, anybody that wants to cut down the middle. Traditional zone is a lot of 3 around 2, hit the short corner, dive down the middle, or whatever that might be. So we are working in tandem, helping protect the basket, because our center is always 15 feet away from the rim. Our forwards also have to be our best rebounders on the backside. Because our center is always on ball side, the forward is normally the backside rebounder. And as we know, most shots go to the backside, especially jump shots. And so they have to work the backside and be our rebounders. A lot of people will try to post our forwards. So they got to be physical and they can't get pinned in. So sometimes people will put forwards, offensive forwards down there and try to screen our guys so they can't get that hand up closeout. So we work a lot on that constant dance and not getting pinned in and making sure you can fight over the top and get out. And so our forwards have to be tough guys. Like, they got to get in there and be willing to mix it up with guys that are bigger than them. But they also have opportunities to get cross-court steals, and they can get deflections too. And it does not require as much effort as the guard position, but it requires more physicalness around the rim and being willing to rebound.
This is where especially what you all do is kind of like the secret sauce. The combination of, if people are watching, the rotations and then the ramping up the pressure. Can you talk about maybe just like 1 or 2 of those examples of those, and then also the ability that you have to combine the rotations with the ramping up the pressure?
There are multiple pressure options that can fall back into the zone. So we'll start with those first. It's really simple to 2-2-1 press back into the 2-1-2 zone. So, the center position in our 2-1-2 is the back guy in the 2-2-1 press. If you can kind of picture that. The forwards, the middle of the 2-2-1 press, are our forwards in the 2-1-2. So it easily just falls back into it. And then in the press, we have different options. We can, like normal 2-2-1 stuff. Like, we can press, or we can trap up top. We can, a lot of times for us, we're just trying to eat clock and not let you walk into what you've been working on and shoot around against our zone. We feel like somebody different might have to dribble it, or you've had to pass a few times to get into it. And so now we've only got a guard for us in college, the shot clock. We've got 20 seconds left by the time you get across half court, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to get into what you've been working on in preparation for our zone. So the 2-2-1 press back into it is really good. We also can trap it in the half court. If you imagine those 2 guards that are starting up at the volleyball line, they're in a great position to just go trap the ball handler as they cross half court. We could also trap on the wings. We talked about it earlier. They pass that one from top to wing. We can easily trap the guard and the forward. And so there's some different looks that you can do in it. We also do it sometimes out of timeout. We can go zone to man in the same possession. It's really easy to do that too. And we'll do that sometimes when the ball is driven inside the 3-point line or passed inside the 3-point line. We'll go right to one man-to-man defense. I think what makes it good, and we can talk about it, is just when the ball gets inside the arc, our guards are taking away the arc. They don't go with the guard, go with the dribble or the pass or whatever. And that's so different than a lot of zone defenses that I think it really, makes the offense uncomfortable. So when the ball gets inside the 3-point line, whether it's passed or dribbled, our guards are defending the 3-point line. So we'll just take it from the top. If somebody, dribbles it across half court and they go drive it from the top, our guards are going to what we call as a peel out. They're going to peel out and defend the 3-point line and try to steal the pass. And so offensive players are so used to driving that thing in there and just an easy kick out. Or if they throw it to the high post, same thing. Our guards are going to guard the 3-point line. And a lot of times people catching at the high post on offense are bigger guys that aren't used to passing. And so they'll throw it right to us sometimes. And so the secret sauce is really in our guards, defending the arc when the ball gets inside the 3-point line. So you combine that with pressing sometimes, trapping sometimes, and just giving the offense different looks so that they cannot get comfortable. That combined with a different looking zone, it's been really successful for us in forcing turnovers.